What is up? My name is Casey Budge, and this is Western Sounds. And today I have the one and only Whisky Outlaws, the self-proclaimed Alan Jacksons, if Alan Jackson was in the Turnpike Troubadours. These guys are awesome. They're an up-and-coming band who I have absolutely fallen in love with. Guys, how are you guys doing today?
We're doing great,
Man,
man.
I'm
How are
doing
you?
good.
Good deal, guys. So, what are you guys doing right now?
Let's see. I'm sitting on the front
I'm on,
porch actually getting ready to head to a show.
and I'm on my way to the same show.
Heck yeah, guys. Where are you guys performing at?
It's a place called the D-Town Jamboree in Dunaway, Missouri. Kind of like an outdoor festival.
Heck yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Good deal. So, first off, start off by telling me a little bit about yourselves, how you guys got met, because you guys are from completely opposite ends of the country. So, tell me that story.
Yeah. A little bit about myself. So I'm Corey, and I was born and raised out in southeast Georgia, about 2 hours south of Savannah, um, and ended up moving to Joplin, Missouri in 2019. Um, my wife's family lived out here, and so we just kind of upped and relocated. And see, I get here in January. Thaddeus, what, you showed up in August? Is that right?
Yeah, it was the beginning of August.
Yeah. And so he had moved from Montana, from Kalispell, uh, for similar reasons, was relocating with the wife's family. And we met at a music store that I was a salesman in. And I had been looking to try to get music off the ground here because I had done it previously on the East Coast and we're looking to get a foot in the door out here. And so was Thaddeus. He came to see me the first day in town at the music store. We started talking. It's like, hey, this could go somewhere. And actually, come to find out, one of his childhood friends that he'd grown up going to church with and stuff had actually been a classmate in college that I went to in South Carolina. And we just felt that it was kind of a sign and hadn't looked back since.
That's awesome, guys. So, you talked about a little bit about church, so I want to dive into that a little bit more. On your bio, it said that you guys both grew up performing in church and stuff. How has that influenced your music going forward?
I think it's influenced a lot, just like the dynamic senses. Because like in worship music and stuff, it's more about serving the song than serving yourself. It's just not stepping over the lead vocals and just kind of like understanding when and where to play and when and where not to play. And since we both been in the church worship scene for about the same amount of time, just kind of brings that we kind of bring that to our music if we can, to where we're not just it's not a big long solo the entire song, or it's not just chaos or whatever. We try to approach it the same way dynamically and bring out the best of the pieces and things.
Nice. Yeah, I really like your guys' music because it has kind of a clean sound. It's not really jumbled or anything like that. It's a very clean sounding recording all the time.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, besides recording music and traveling around playing shows, what do you guys like to do for fun?
Man, fun. What is that? Yeah, these days, I don't know about for Thaddeus, but for me, fun seems to be kind of few and far between. Mostly, if we're not playing shows, we both also still work day jobs as well right now. Well, about part time, each of us are, to make ends meet. But so if I'm not working, or if we're not playing shows, normally, I'm kind of just at home. I just had a baby at the end of June. So pretty much any time I can get to spend with my wife and my newborn son is kind of my goal personally. So
Heck yeah. What do you guys do for day jobs?
I work at the Chick-fil-A in the mall here in Joplin.
So have you ever been taking someone's order in the Chick-fil-A and they say something to you and you'd be like, man, that would make a great song, and just start like scribbling down behind the desk or anything like that, or any?
Well, I actively write at work, but I work in the back mostly, so I don't get to have the customer interaction as much.
Ah, man. What about you, Corey? What do you do?
Yeah, so I actually work with a small brewery here in the Southwest Missouri area, and so I basically I'm an apprentice to the brewer. So when I'm not playing shows, I'm out making beer. I'm doing the daily maintenance, the cleaning, the helping progress the beer from point A to point B, and then we brew about once a week.
Is your beer good?
Oh, dude, it's fantastic.
What's it called?
So it's Indian Springs Brewing Company. I'll have to see if I can pull some strings. Maybe get some cans sent up to you.
You should. You should.
Yeah.
I'll always partake in some free beer. The best kind of
Yes,
beer
sir.
is free beer. Awesome, guys. So who have you guys taken inspiration from the most?
I'd say probably my biggest influence, um, both guitar wise and songwriting wise, I'd say is like probably Brad Paisley. Um, just because I like the way he writes. He writes, I guess, if you look at the way like you got Nashville country and you got kind of the Oklahoma Texas country, which is mixed with Americana and red dirt and a little bit of rock and stuff. But I kind of grew up in the '90s era of country, like that's where I felt kind of at home. So Travis Tritt and Alan Jackson and so forth, and they're just they're very stated writers. Like they just state their feelings. It's not a lot of metaphors. Like sometimes there is, but there's not a lot of metaphors and stuff. So it's just I kind of got that. So that's how I write with that, and that's what influenced me and all the songs I write. So like one more round and stuff. It's it's straight up. That's what you're feeling, and there's one more round and stuff. So it kind of has like a '90s country vibe to it. So there's the Alan Jackson, and then he's the Turnpike Troubadour side. So
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And for me, I mean, Turnpike is definitely a huge one. It's been super cool to watch them blow up over the last year and do what they've done. But for the longest time, unless you were involved in the red dirt scene, nobody really knew who Turnpike was. But beyond that, so I tend to gravitate more towards kind of like guys that are more lyricists, I'd say. So I'm a huge fan of Jason Isbell. Clodo Cordero from Flatland Cavalry has also been a huge influence on me. And even, just a lot of, since I play acoustic in the band, that's always captured my imagination as a musician. And that's actually why I started playing guitar, was really to be able to put music to what I was writing, as a young teenager. So pretty much it's guys like that. Donovan Woods, I don't know if you know who that is. Another fantastic Canadian artist. For me, it's always been more about what captures my imagination lyrically, and then the music is kind of just there to support it. That's how I've always approached it.
Have you ever heard of a Canadian artist named Corb Lund?
Yes, I have.
He is one of those who I feel like is a fantastic lyricist. He can write lyrics to one about as good as any I've ever seen.
Right. Man, it blows me away, and how some of these guys can be so incredibly succinct, and uh, even all the time we spend on the highway. I'll nerd out over a three word line to that. He's like, oh, dude, like this is incredible. He's like, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm like, oh, you don't get it, but no. So it's
No,
words excite me. That's for sure.
no, I completely agree with you. The lyrics to a song, to me, all 90% of the time they will overlap the music, and like the music is super impressive. And your guys' playing is incredible too, but your guys' lyrics are super fun too. So I really enjoy that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
So jumping into that, what if you had to classify yourself in a genre, what would it be?
That's been tough, man. Like it's really hard. We haven't not to not to say it in an arrogant way at all, but like we haven't really found many people that sound like us, so we don't really have something to go on, you know. Like we found close, and it helps with the Spotify radio and stuff. So if you get to Spotify and it has the radio based on the artist, and kind of get through that, and I don't even know what it's classified as. Maybe Corey does, but
Yeah. To me, man, I think we're still kind of in a process of discovery, as we're releasing more music, to kind of discover who we are in a sense, and where that's going to land us. Being out here in Southwest Missouri, we're definitely trying to find our way into the Oklahoma, Texas scene. We've had great opportunities to play with some guys that have toured through the area. And that's kind of, I don't say the sound we're emulating, but that seems to be where we fit in most. But even to that, we, in my opinion, sometimes I think we're a little too country for some of the red dirt stuff, and a little too Americana red dirt for the Nashville scene. So to be honest, I just tell people, they're like, "Oh, what are you guys?" I'm like, man, we're a country band. Like, I wish I could give you more than that, but as far as like trying to subcategorize it at this point, I think it's been a little difficult, because to us it does feel like we're not out here like shaking up the genre, but it's trying to find where exactly we fit the subcategory. I don't feel like we have a good feel on that yet.
No, and that's why I like to ask that question, is because I like to hear your guys' process a little bit. I'm not necessarily concerned with the answer as much as how like a lot of the people I interview are like you guys, where they're still pretty new and still growing into where they want to be in country music. And so it's cool to see where you guys are trying to fit in and where you guys are coming from and where you're going to. That's the part that I really enjoy. And so I really liked that answer. Who's your
Thanks.
favorite who you've gotten to play with so far?
Oh, that's we got to do a show like right as the pandemic was kind of happening. We got to play down in Arkansas with Tanner Usry, and he was a bang up, just a class act guy. For me, that's probably been my favorite thus far.
What about you, Thaddeus?
I don't know. There's been a lot of artists that I haven't ever heard of or known, you know, so it's kind of like they're new to me. So when I open for them, it's like my first time hearing them, or first time kind of hearing about them. Um, I would almost say it's Kevin Galloway of Uncle Lucius.
Oh yeah, he's sweet.
So that was, yeah, he's a super nice dude, and just he's got a very laid back, like almost like float trip kind of music, you know. It's like beach, almost like beach country, but float trip also. It's kind of weird.
No, I totally get what you mean. Like you're out on the river
Yeah,
fishing or something like that, and
Yeah.
yeah, like you can just feel the vibes.
I agree. So, what would your guys' dream show be? Like, if you could play any auditorium, any stage, any concert, anything, what would it be?
uh, oh man, I've geeked out over two of them. Mine would probably be either Red Rocks or Austin City Limits.
If you guys come to Red Rocks, you let me know.
Right.
Okay.
Because I'm about an hour and a half from Red Rocks. So if you guys
Oh
come up here,
man,
let me know.
Oh yeah.
absolutely. And for me, man, I think it's pretty classic answer. But if we ever got to play the Mother Church up at the Ryman Auditorium,
Mhm.
that's one of my personal goals. And then, of course, I mean, everybody dreams of making the Opry, so
Yeah.
that's how can you not? And two, I think I have loved how it seems like over the last year and a half, the Opry has really opened up to our scene, to the independent country artists, to the guys that are.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, just think of all the artists that have played recently. Mike and the Moon Pies,
Man.
Flatland Calvary's been through there. Man,
Rolling.
I mean, yeah, I mean, just so many the guys that we feel like we're kind of chasing their footsteps have got shots at the Opry in the last 2 years. So makes you feel like maybe it's not as much of a pipe dream. Maybe you can get there one day. So,
No, and you guys do have a very flatland vibe, and that is a huge compliment for me.
oh,
You guys,
thank you.
like
Thank
not,
you.
yeah, not saying that like you guys are um the same exact sound, but like you have the same kind of vibe, and that's a fun vibe for me.
Oh, that's a huge compliment, man. Absolutely. I'll take that all day.
Um, yeah. So would what does your guys' songwriting process look like? How do you go about writing a song?
You go ahead, Corey.
Yeah. So for me, well, how we kind of operate right now in the band, um, we do a lot of solo writing, or at least getting the songs off the ground individually. And then once we feel like it's fairly formed, we'll bring it into the band, or I'll bring a song to Thaddeus, say, "Hey, man, help me finish working this up musically," or may feel like I already have got most of the lyrics in place, or ask him, "Hey, do you have any edits for this? Do you have any ideas or thoughts?" But as far as like before that point, for me, I keep a God a running list. I use Evernote, so it's on all my devices, and I mean I've probably got over 500 entries in there of just snippets, ideas. Sometimes just one line, 2 words, whatever. Um, and I think for me, when I'm sitting down looking at the song, it has a lot more to do with. I know there's people who will agonize word for word, line for line. For me, I tend to see the song as kind of more of a roadmap. And how do I get from point A to point B where I want to be? And what does that entail through the middle? So for me, that being said, a lot of times it's a lot of writing and rewriting in the sense of just trying to flesh it out. And sometimes I've been asked like, "Oh, what's that line mean?" It's like, to be honest, man, it's just what I needed to get to the next idea. Like, there's nothing deep or nothing super personal about the line. It just progresses us through. Um, and yeah, and pretty much for me, it all is typically built around the chord progressions. I typically the lyrics come first, either that or the lyrics and the melody kind of come at the same time. Um, and then when I'm looking to add lead lines or um, and kind of more than just for the kind of the cowboy chord thing, that's where I'm fortunate enough that I can turn to Thaddeus, say, "Hey, man, what else can we do here to bring this up to speed musically?"
Yeah, yeah, make this. I have this cool sounding lyric. Make it sound cool.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
No, I completely understand that because I am not musically talented at all. I can write a nice poem or anything like that, but I'm not musically talented, so that's where I lean on other people is to get the music into it.
Yeah.
And I
And
even
so,
think, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think for me and Thaddeus, because we do have that uh, church kind of worship background, so much of that is also, and like I said, the culture in that is more team based. It's more um, thinking as a whole. So I think that helps us as well, not only when we're recording, but when we're writing as well. To it's not a him versus me thing. It's not a fighting for top spot in the band. It's very much, hey, what can we do to make each other better, and how do we in the long run propel propel us further, regardless of what's out front or who's out front. So
Heck yeah.
You'd think we'd be very critical of each other, but I'm very blessed to have him as a business partner that just we both don't take it personally no matter what it is. It's like we both understand that it's bettering the band or bettering whatever. So it's really nice to have somebody that you can kind of rag on. You're like, "No, I don't like that. You should try something else," and not take it personally and be like, "Yeah, well, screw you too."
right.
Nice. Sorry, my roommate's out here. I'm gonna have to cut all my audio from there, but that's fine. You guys will be good. So, man, I forgot what I was gonna ask next. Oh yeah. So, what do you guys have coming next? What's your next project, next thing, next single, next album? What do you guys have next?
Well, the next biggest thing we have going on right now is opening for Tanner Usry again sometime in November. After that, we're probably going to try working on an album, on a full-length album if we can. Just kind of feel like that's where we're at right now. We tried to do the single thing, and we've done 3 so far, and not that we've done it the best way, but we've done it as best we could research and find out, you know. So I think it's the next step that we've seen with a lot of guys that we're looking up to, you know, a year, 2, 3 years ahead of us, stuff, what they're doing. And so I think the album is probably the next thing to do. So
Yeah,
probably working on
that's, and it's, you know, for us, we're totally independent, not in the sense of, you know, not with the label. I mean, me and Thaddeus are the team. We are the management. We are the booking. We are the marketing, graphic design. We do a lot in house, including. But the only thing we don't really do in house is the recording. You know, we've worked with a really good sound engineer here in the area. But yeah, we kind of feel like that's the next progression. We feel like the singles have done well, but you know, we have enough body of work that we feel like it's time to present something a little larger, and hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, that'll be out before the end of 23. So we'll see.
You just took my next question right on my hands. When can we expect that? So the end of 23, I'll hold you to that. I'm just
All
kidding.
right,
I'm just
good
kidding.
that.
I'll start bugging you when December 23 starts rolling around. I'll start texting you guys. Yeah, where's it at? Come on.
Right, but I mean, heck, I would love to see it even progress quicker than that. But you know, to try not to nothing worse than a big things coming soon band, you know, they keep promising big things soon for 3 years. So try not to fall in that trap.
No, and I'm just kidding. Whatever you guys can do to keep sounding as good as you do right now, keep doing it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me?
See, not off the top of my head, man, but you know, I've really enjoyed the podcast. I've dug in, and I think it's cool. Just as we're musicians trying to kind of make our way in the scene, you know, there's definitely a scene for these independent podcasts that are, you know, covering country music. And so props to you for trying to jump in on that and chase what you're passionate about, as far as even just some of the album reviews and the interviews and such. So I think it's great. Keep it up, dude. We'll keep plugging along together.
All right, sounds good. Well, shout out where they can find you quick.
Yeah, so you can find us on all the social medias. I mean, we're on Instagram, Facebook, new to Twitter. So come check us out on Twitter, as well as all of the streaming platforms. Spotify's our main one, as is most people. That's Whisky Outlaws. There's no E in that, so it's WHISKY, like Scotch whiskey. Yeah, come find us, and we'd love to talk and interact with everybody.
And all their links will be in the podcast description down below. Make sure you check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Western Sounds and Western Sounds Podcast, respectively. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks, Thaddeus and Corey, for coming on.
Thank you, Casey. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for having us, man.
Of course, it was a pleasure getting to talk to you guys.
You as well.
You too.
All right.